Colorado High School Activities Association football is on Morgan County's B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network tonight. From Legion Field, it's a Morgan County battle between the hometown Fort Morgan Mustangs and the visiting Brush Bee Diggers, along with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde. I'm John Beltran. Both teams at 0-1. But one team, Brian, had a good shot to win last week, and the other team, the one that we're covering, really didn't after probably the second or third quarter when they were just getting dominated with Conifer's ground game.
Yeah, they came out, had a good drive. They defensively stopped Conifer, got the ball, went down the field, had a nice drive of, 3 plays, scored, went up on them, and then after that they just couldn't figure it out, or Conifer had it figured out, and Fort Morgan just could not move the ball, and also too many penalties.
Yeah, especially in offense, just false starts and things of that nature. And meanwhile, Kevin, at halftime, you pointed out last week that Coach Langford would try to make some adjustment, and maybe he did, but it did not equate to defensive execution whatsoever.
No, I think both coaches talked about in the pregame today that mistakes are going to be the key to this game. You know, a turnover could be the turning point. Definitely 2 turnovers would be the death knell, and penalties. You cannot get behind the sticks in a game like this because Brush is going to pound the ball. We're going to try and pound and try and throw. So I'm hoping it's going to be an entertaining game and that we have some fun out here.
Opening kickoff is brought to you by Buildings by Design. When it comes to experience, Buildings by Design is the best in the business. Quality, commitment, and experience makes Buildings by Design the only choice when it comes to your next project. The Mustangs in their home maroons with the white pants, and the Bee Diggers in all white. Eric Rico, who had 2 field goals last week. He was 2 of 3 against Wiggins, and he will kick it off. Charlie Langford got banged up last week, but he's out there, Brian, so and they need him badly.
Oh, yeah. Charlie's kind of the heart of this team on both offense and defense, and also special teams. He had that run back last week for a touchdown, but unfortunately got called back because of a penalty.
Langford standing at his own 9-yard line. A gorgeous night in Fort Morgan. And there's the kickoff. High, end over end. Langford to his right at the 9, running to his left to the 15. Swings it to the outside to the 20. And he's tackled at the 26-yard line. A return of 17. 87 degrees is the game time temperature. There is a flag down at the 41. Grant Becker made the hit. Now let's see what the penalty marker is all about. Preliminary indication is a hold against Fort Morgan. Mustang starting lineup brought to you by B&B Appliance and Repair. From refrigerators to vacuums and everything in between, they have exactly what you need, and they'll service it too. B&B Appliance and Repair. J.J. Marquez, the quarterback. Samson Ortega, the lead back. Ben Fritzer will be in there as well. The receivers Lopez and Charlie Langford. Big center there along the offensive line is Aiden Diaz, a junior. Out there with Peyton Vickers, Christian Velasquez, Michael Strange. It's a young offensive line. Jackson Wiedrick's going to play a huge role on the inside slot there with Oscar Ramirez. Both are seniors, and let's face it, not too many seniors on this team, Kevin.
No, not very many at all.
8. I counted them last week.
1st and 10 I can't count that high. Out of the pistol from the 16, and Marquez tried to hand off left. Nobody was there. He takes it himself and has a nice gain across the 25 to the 26. That's simply an indication that Fort Morgan's blocking was very good there, because that was a busted play, and yet it went for 9 yards.
Yeah,
he turned one way and the back went the other.
And it all depends on which way the line was blocking. Maybe they blocked for the run to the right and everybody overreacted and he got back.
Unless it was Marquez's mistake, but we don't know. It doesn't matter at this point. A gain of 9, 2nd down and 1 from the 25. Again out of the pistol. Ortega the lone setback. 2 receivers to the right on the inside slot is Angel Lopez. Charlie Langford on the outside. They could run any play here on a 2nd and 1. It will be a give to Samson Ortega right up the gut, first out. He runs over a defender across the 30 to the 33. It's a gain of 7. And man, that was major contact taken by Juan Sanchez Calvillo. He got run over, and Samson Ortega is somebody you've got to be reckoning with.
And I think Fort Morgan's coming out much more aggressive and fired up. I'm seeing linemen blocking too, like a guy 5 yards down the field and keep pushing him.
But this is the thing, Kevin. They came out strong in the first drive last week. It was after that where they struggled, but we'll see. This is Morgan County's B106 KPRB, Brush Fort Morgan, and Marquez keeps it himself, swings it to the outside. He's going to take a loss. That's an excellent play by Hunter Proctor, the senior. A loss of 3 back to the 30-yard line, and that is called assignment football, quite frankly, defensively.
Yeah, it was a good job on defense, and Marquez is going to be the quarterback for the next 3 years. I'm not sure he's going to make his living as a runner, though, because so far he seems to be able to get caught by the defensive backs.
Right, he doesn't have the elusivity that a Briggs Wheatley does.
Right.
So he's really got to be highly deceptive. 2nd down and 13 to go for the 30. We have played 2 minutes on this Thursday night in Fort Morgan. From the shotgun, there is the give. Nope, Marquez keeps it himself across the 40 to the 41. He stuck that football in the gut of Ortega as long as he could and was able to pick up 12 yards in a play. That's the deception that we were talking about. 3rd down and 1.
Right, and he's definitely football savvy. He was smart and he watched that and read his keys, and the defensive tackle collapsed in and opened that spot out for him, and looking good so far.
3rd down and 1 to go for Fort Morgan at their own 42-yard line, and you shorten the game that way. Keep it on the ground. More than likely this will be a give to Samson Ortega. This time back to the pistol. Man in motion is Lopez, but there we go. That's a 2nd flag. There was no doubt movement on the offensive side. That could change the play call, but, with the exception of that one play, Brian, where Marquez was thrown for a loss, 3rd and 6 is still a running situation.
Oh, yeah, they've looked good so far. It's, I don't know why they've got 4th down over there on the marker, but there we go. They've been able to get their yardage, 4 or 5 yards of crack here.
And now we have played over 3 minutes in the opening quarter. Doesn't seem 3 minutes have expired, but that's the case. 3rd down and 6 yards to go from their own 37. What a gorgeous night in Fort Morgan. A lot better than we had last Friday at Conifer. Marquez, 2-step drop. He hit. He is down, and it's a fumble, and Brush recovers. He was slammed right there, and it is recovered at the 29-yard line by Tanner Ludgate. And Caleb Jimenez came in and just nailed Marquez from behind, and that's the first mistake of the game.
Well, other than the thing that set up that play with the penalty right before it.
Yeah, first turnover of the game.
Right, definitely. So I think we're going to see a heavy dose of number 44.
Yeah, Richie Bruno, he's a stud. He had over 90 yards last week on 18 carries at the 29 of Fort Morgan. There's the give to Bruno, running to his left. He's got a seam across the 25. He carries a defender towards the 22. It's a gain of close to 7 yards, 2nd down and 3. Around the football was Trey Romero and Christian Velasquez. And a solid run there for Richie Bruno, a sophomore from Rush.
And we'll see how many yards they gain. I think Conifer averaged 5.6 yards a carry last week and almost 300 yards of offense, so running anyway.
2nd down and 3 to go for Brush at the 22-yard line of Fort Morgan. Right up the gut, a short gain this time for Bruno. He's got less than 2 yards, stacked up by Noah Aguirre. And we've already got a beat digger down. Austin Lay, an offensive lineman. The gain is 2, setting up a 3rd down and 1. And it's going to be pretty basic football. But here's the thing. When JJ takes that quick drop, the blocking really has to be there. If not, he's got to get rid of the football very quickly.
Well, he hardly had time to take his 2-drop stop.
Right.
Before he got hit. And they knew he was passing, so they were blitzing. And, that's where that 5 yards penalty is really what set up that turnover.
Well, that's why I mentioned, Kevin, it wouldn't have been a bad idea on 3rd and 6 to run the ball.
Right.
Because they hadn't stopped Fort Morgan outside of the one play, and JJ was doing a really nice job of being deceptive. One of them, the busted play, and the other one that most defenders thought that Samson Ortega had the football, but it didn't happen. They decided to pass and never got it off. 3rd down and 1 for Brush at the Fort Morgan 20. No score. First possession for the Beat Diggers, under 8 minutes to go. 2 setbacks in the eye. Handoff, Ludgate, left side. Looks like he's going to squeeze his way for a first down to the 18. Initial penetration came from Carson Roth, a senior. One of a few seniors, as Brian mentioned, 8 on this team. And the sticks continue to move, even though this was basically 4-down territory. Diggers taking their time in that huddle. They want to shorten this game. Really, so does Fort Morgan, I would think.
Right.
From the 18-yard line on the left hash mark in the red zone, 1st and 10. Eric Rico will hand it off right tackle. That is Richie Bruno. He barrels to the 15-yard line for a gain of 3. Oscar Ramirez grabbed the ball carrier, put him to the turf. 3 carries for 12 yards for Richie Bruno. Richie Bruno, that's a perfect name for a fullback, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really solid name. Even if his name was just Bruno. But Richie's pretty, that's a great name for a fullback. 2nd down and 7 to go from the 15. The backs this time are split. Rico is under center. The sophomore quarterback will hand it off to Bruno. He maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. That's it. Aguirre read it perfectly. So did Trey Romero. No gain. 3rd down and 8 to go. Check it. 3rd and 7 to go from the 15, just inside the 15-yard line. Now, last week in overtime, in the second overtime, Rico threw a touchdown pass to his tight end, Brody Dick. They didn't establish a ton of passing last week, and we're nearly midway through the first quarter, 6:14 to go, and no score. And the Bay Diggers, they are in 4-down territory, even though Rico was able to kick 2 field goals last week. They might have to take a timeout. Up to the line of scrimmage, under center is Rico. 3rd down and 7 for the 15. Man in motion to the right. Rico's going to roll that way. He's going to take off. No, he's going to throw it towards the end zone, and it is tipped incomplete. Broken up by Angel Lopez. Proctor nearly came down with that football. There was running room for Rico, but that was an outstanding play, and it was slightly underthrown.
Yeah, if he had let him out there, they'd have had a touchdown, but he pulled up. Yeah, I think he'd have had a first down if he'd have just tucked it and run.
Yeah, it was definitely underthrown, but almost caught by Proctor, who's a tremendous athlete. The Bay Diggers will go for it. 4th down and 7. No, they're going to attempt the field goal. This will be from 30 yards out. Rico straight away. Off the hold of Landon Mesh. Awaiting the snap. The kick is up. It's high. It's deep. And it is good. Eric Rico nails it from 30 yards away. 5:49 to go. Here in the opening quarter, the Bee Diggers have 3 field goals in less than 5 quarters as they take advantage of a Fort Morgan turnover and are able to convert it into 3 points.
Yeah, that field goal could come into play, down the road, but all season long, that's going to be a really good weapon for Brush to have, when they get stopped in the red zone and not have to go for it on a 4th and 6.
Yeah, that would have been good probably from about 40 maybe, or deep 30s. I mean, it wasn't a huge kick, but it was technically sound.
Yep.
Rico to kick it off. Well, you might not remember this, but Rico had a field goal last year against Fort Morgan in a 26-14 victory. Had a field goal as a freshman. I only remember that because I looked it up.
I tried to forget that game.
And there's another high kick towards Langford at the 9 again. Jitterbugging to the 15, running to his left, now reversing his field. He's got a little bit of a seam, but it closes. And there's a flag down. That's going to be against Fort Morgan unless it was a face mask, but I didn't see a face mask down at the 17-yard line. The Mustangs have already committed a couple of penalties. This is going to be number 3. It's a block in the back against Fort Morgan.
And when you cut back like that you really have to be disciplined as a blocker to not get that blind side or block in the back.
That should be half the distance to the goal at about the 8-yard line. 5:42 to go in the opening quarter. Brush leading 3-0. One-stop shopping does exist at Stubbs Gas and Oil. Gas, food, and all your travel accessories off I-76 and exit 66A in Wiggins. It's at the 8-yard line. Last week when the game turned around, Conifer went on a 95-yard drive. But that was in the second quarter. We're midway through the first. Two receivers split out each side. Marquez, 4 yards behind center, will hand it off up the middle, and a nice hole for Samson Ortega, still on his feet, across the 10 to the 13-yard line for a gain of about 5. Stacked up in there by a couple of B-diggers, including Richie Bruno himself. 2nd down and 5 to go for Fort Morgan. Well, it could be one of those things, too, that the team that passes least will win this game as well. You control it.
Yeah, if you can get 4 or 5 yards of crack here, there's no need to pass.
2nd down and 5 for the 13-yard line. Same formation. Marquez will keep it himself. He dances across the 15 and down at the 17 for a gain of 4. Tanner Ludgate with a penetration for Brush. 3rd down and a yard to go. Marquez 4 carries for 22 yards, and he also fumbled. Well, nothing fancy here. They will be in the pistol. 3rd and 1 from the 17. The give to Ortega, and he leaps over a defender. He is right at the stick. Brush had some penetration there by Bruno, and they might have to measure. It's right at the 18-yard line. That is very close to a 1st down, but they're going to call it 4th down.
Yeah, Brush had some penetration there, and he had to start his dive a little bit early and didn't quite launch far enough.
Well, if he didn't leap, it would have been a loss.
Yep. Oh, that's right.
And now Fort Morgan's got to call a timeout with 3:59 to go, first quarter. Fort Morgan leads, or Brush leads 3-0 on a 30-yard field goal by Eric Rico. 9 locations across Northeast Colorado and Nebraska means there's always a location close by at Rudy's Tires. They bring you 10-10 preps and more weekdays. Visit rudystires.com for more. Tomorrow night, another edition of Morgan County Football Late Night on Facebook Live, 11 o'clock on the 1010 KSIR Sports page. And tomorrow night, I'm going to pay a visit over to Wiggins High School to watch that Wiggins-Strasburg game.
Oh, that'd be good.
So we'll see how, because Strasburg got beaten fairly badly last week by Holyoke, 33-7. And here's the deal. Wiggins did lose like 6 key players, but Kevin and I talked about this on the way back. The interest with Wiggins football starts with their head coach Reed Call, and then it's built from there with the players.
Right.
Because he's got 2 state championships to his resume. 3rd down, or check that, 4th down. And inches to go at the 18-yard line. Under center. Nope, it's going to be out of the pistol. Romero, and I don't know if he got it. He's right at the 18. I think he's short. Trey Romero took it 3 yards behind center, naked backfield. I think he's held short. The B-Digger defensive line got in there. A bevy of players, including Brody Dick. There's no way he's got it there. I think that's short, gentlemen. Brian, what do you see
Yeah, it
there?
looks like it from here. It looks like he's just short of the 18.
Yeah, for a second I thought Marquez was under center. But Trey Romero's a big kid, but he went nowhere. And he ran behind his right tackle.
And Brush knew that they were going to be running up the middle. That's the advantage of going under the center. You don't have any delay. It's immediate, and you have 3 or 4 guys piling, pushing you from behind.
But that's not the system they run. Oh, did Fort Morgan pick up a 1st down? That doesn't seem possible. That doesn't seem possible they would pick up a 1st down. How was it 4th? Wow. Well.
Yeah, they got it apparently. So
Must be the angle we're watching it at.
It has to be. Did either of you think that was a 1st down? I didn't.
I didn't think so.
I thought it was close, but I wasn't so sure.
I mean, listen, it's great for Fort Morgan. 3:45 to go, but the Brush defense was surprised. I think the Brush crowd was surprised. Because I didn't see anything beyond the line of scrimmage that Romero gained. From the pistol, Marquez, high snap. There's the handoff, and Richie Bruno is the first man in, and Brody Dick is right there. Samson Ortega thrown for a loss back at the 16-yard line. A loss of 2. Ortega with his 4th carry, now for 11 yards.
I think it's time to dig a little deeper in the playbook and maybe try and get outside on them or something, because running between the tackles, they've kind of have it figured out, just like Conifer did last week. You know, we had some success early because they were playing all of it, but you start to have that tendency to play the same plays, and they start cheating in if you don't take advantage of that by going outside.
Let's see if they involve either of the 2 receivers. Lopez in motion to the right or Langford to the left. 2nd down and 12 to go. The Mustangs at their own 16, trailing 3-0. Marquez back to throw. He lobs it up the right sideline, incomplete. Well covered was Lopez at the 40-yard line, and it was overthrown by about 5 yards. That would have been incredible and unbelievable had that been completed. A very, very, very tight window of any, and well defended over there by Axton Haswell. 3rd and 12.
You can't really blame Marquez for being a little gun shy after getting hit right as he set up the pass last time.
Didn't we see this last year where they go for the home run?
Yeah.
A little bit too much.
Yeah. Well, he needs to put some air under it, not such a line drive type of a pass. If he had put some air under it, I think it'd probably been complete.
3rd down and 12 to go from the 16-yard line. Marquez back to throw out to his right, caught underneath. Langford trying to make a move, but he's going to be thrown down for a loss or maybe a gain of a yard by Tanner Ludgate. It was one of those wide receiver screens that Wheatley and Fajardo used to run beautifully, but that was a different team. This one only a gain of 1. 4th down and 11 to go for Fort Morgan. I mean, I like the play call, but you need blocking and you need a lot of things to take place. Romero standing at his own 3 in a heavy rush. A beautiful spiraling punt. Fair catch is called at the 46-yard line by Juan Sanchez Calvillo. And that punt went for 37 yards. And the Mustangs now have got to really tighten up defensively, Kevin, because Brush has pretty good field position.
Yeah, and I agree with you. That was a good choice of plays. It would have been a better play on 2nd down and 6. And then on 3rd down, maybe you'd have to go. I mean, you got to throw past the sticks.
2:06 to go, first quarter. Brush 3, Fort Morgan nothing on a 30-yard field goal from Eric Rico as the lights are on at Legion Field. Plenty of daylight, though. Under center, backs are split. Eric Rico, the quarterback, and Brush is being called for a false start. Well, the game of mistakes. Fort Morgan has made considerably more, but we still have 3+ quarters of football to go.
Right.
And we'll see if Brush can overcome their 5-yard mistake.
And if Fort Morgan can step up and make a play, they need some guys to step up and make a big hit, maybe force a fumble or something.
Well, the Mustangs did not commit a turnover last week, but they've committed one this week. 1st down and 15 to go for Brush at their own 41. There's the give to the deep back. Across the left side is Richie Bruno to the 44 before he's upended. A gain of 3. Ramirez and Velasquez. Well, they're going to backtrack the football to the 40. Yeah, to the 43. Only a gain of 2, though. 2nd down and 13 to go. The Bee Diggers are quickly up to the line of scrimmage. That's 5 carries for Bruno for 14 yards. Rico is going to roll to his right. Now he'll pitch it right. That is Calvillo swinging it to the outside. He's got the 50, and then he is tripped up across the 50 to about the 47. That's a great play by Noah Aguirre. But a fairly sizable gain of 10 yards for Juan Sanchez Calvillo.
And that's a perfect example of what I was talking about earlier. Fort Morgan is trying to stop that inside run, but defensive ends are crashing, trying to get in there and stuff that inside game, and you pop it outside, and it's one-on-one out there, and that time Brush won.
3rd down and 3 to go. Rico will hand it off, and breaking out of a tackle is Bruno. 1st down across the 45 to the Mustang 43, a gain of 4. Ramirez and Angel Lopez made some contact along with Aguirre. He's going to be all over those Brush running backs. And the ball now resting at the 42-yard line.
And another missed tackle there. We had him in the backfield and could have had a loss, but Bruno's a tough one to bring down.
Yeah, you're not going to take him down with an arm tackle.
Could be the final play of the opening quarter with 35 seconds to go, and the Bee Diggers up by a field goal. On 1st and 10 for the 42-yard line. Brush is at good field position the entire quarter. Rico's going to hand it off on the counter. Ludgate running to his left across the 40 to the 35. He's got daylight to the 25, and it's a first down for Tanner Ludgate down to the 23-yard line. It's a gain of 19 for Brush's Tanner Ludgate.
Now they'll go back probably to just punching him up the gut, running inside again, and you got to play that assignment football, and you got to read your keys and know which way the blocks are going.
3 seconds to go in the quarter. They get the play off from the 23. Rico rolls out to his right, throws off his back foot, tip, intercepted by Aguirre at the 28-yard line. It was tipped by a Mustang, and then Aguirre picked it off to end the opening quarter. Both teams have committed a big turnover in this first quarter. We head to the second in 1 minute. Brush 3, Fort Morgan nothing on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Let's begin the second quarter. 1st and 10 for Fort Morgan at their own 28. There's the handoff to Ortega. He can't get out of the backfield. He's going to lose 5 yards, maybe 5 to the 23. Juan Sanchez Calvillo grabbed him around the ankles, had no shot. A loss of 4 officially. 2nd down and 14 to go. The question now is, Kevin Rohde, are you entertained with this 3-0 Brush lead? I know Brush has got the lead, but it's a competitive game. Too many mistakes.
Too many mistakes. It's not fun football to watch, and it's probably not very fun to be playing out there.
Brian?
Yeah, it's boring football, but it's just what happened last week.
But boring can be good if it's well executed.
Yeah, as long as it's competitive, I guess, when you have
Right.
two teams that aren't good.
Marquez rolls out to his left. Pressure coming, throws off his back foot, tipped it complete. That was tipped by Richie Bruno at the 28-yard line, intended for Oscar Ramirez as Marquez tried to lob it out to his left. And this Brush defense is starting to pick it up a little bit after Fort Morgan had a couple of successful plays on the ground with their quarterback Marquez and even Samson Ortega. And we've seen 3rd and double digits here, 2 drives in a row.
Right. And Brush did they only gave up 12 points against a Wiggins team, and that's probably pretty good defense.
In regulation, before the double overtime touchdown. And the first touchdown came on a 4th down. The second touchdown came after they converted a 4th and 14, so Brush could have shut them out. 3rd down and 14 to go from their own 24, and that is a delay of game. And the only saving grace right now, gentlemen, is that this is a young football team. If this were a veteran football team, this would be an even bigger issue.
Oh, yeah. I do notice, though, for a crosstown rivalry game or cross-county rivalry game, even the Brush bleachers are, only half full.
Well, it's also a Thursday night, and that might have an effect because we've seen Friday night games that are full, and technology takes over. People stay at home. They listen to the game, or they might watch the game. Either way. Third.
We appreciate those who listen to the
Oh,
game.
no, absolutely. 3rd and 19 from their own 19. There's a lob deep up the left side. Pass is going to be caught. What a throw and catch caught by Langford.
They're saying no.
Oh, it was on the ground. Langford looked like he caught it at the 50, and the Fort Morgan coaching staff is up in arms. Langford thought it was caught, but the back judge was there, and he must have seen the ball, or maybe the tip of the ball made contact with the ground on a gorgeous pass. Still a little bit of a line drive thrown by Marquez, but he led the receiver nicely.
Yeah, what a great effort there by Langford, though.
Oh, he's got great hands, a tremendous athlete. 4th down and 19 to go. The punt unit is in for Fort Morgan. Quite frankly, I didn't see where the ball hit the ground, but we're not on top of the play. Romero standing at his own 5. Brush leads 3-0 in a 30-yard field goal by Eric Rico. High snap. Here comes the rush. This is a short punt. It's going to bounce at the 44. Fort Morgan take a Mustang roll and down to the 46-yard line. Not bad once again. That's a punt of 35 yards with no return. But another drive, Kevin, that Brush is starting near midfield.
Right. Yeah, and last time Brush made the mistake, got behind and ended up having to pass on that one play. They gave up the ball back.
But they didn't have to pass, but they did.
Right.
Because that was a first down play, so that might change the offensive strategy for Brush, lining up on the left hash mark. 1st and 10 at their own 46, and it looks like this will be timeout number 2 called by the Mustangs, this time on defense. Does it feel like the first game of the season? Because it feels closer to the first game than the second.
It really does.
Yeah.
And, you know, the youth of the two teams and, you know, the inexperience is still showing. You know, they just don't have that experience.
Well, you need guys like Noah Aguirre, who's already made a big play in this game and several other tackles, to play out of their minds early on in the season. I mean, who are the X factors? Aguirre, Langford, obviously Marquez, the quarterback, Samson Ortega. Those X factors have to come through. But generally, the team that has the best offensive player in this series wins year after year. And the best offensive player in week 1 on either side was Richie Bruno of Brush.
Right.
The best offensive player for one quarter was Samson Ortega.
Yep.
But after 67 yards in the opening quarter, the Mustangs had a total of 55 as a team the remainder of the game.
Right. Well, we're going to see on Saturday when CU goes up against TCU whether stars in the backfield can do it without a line up front.
1st and 10, Brush at their own 46-yard line. Rico is going to hand it off, and there's Richie Bruno barreling into a defender at the 50. Dives to the 47 for a gain of 7. 2nd down and 3 to go. And Bruno is not going to run upright. He's just going to lower his shoulders, and he's inviting the contact as he'll take a breather.
Yeah, he likes the contact. He probably thrives on it.
26 yards on 7 carries. Mustangs doing a pretty decent job of defending him. Sanchez Calvillo, one of the backs in there. On 2nd down, the handoff to the deep back, and that's Ludgate, short of a 1st down.
What was that?
And he's down at the 45. There's a push there by Velasquez. But there was a beat digger in Juan Sanchez Calvillo who also pushed. If that's going to go against one team, it's going to go against Fort Morgan.
Yep.
And that's what it's going to be, because I don't know what happened before that, but it was pretty obvious that Velasquez pushed in the open field, so to speak.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why the ref, the farthest away, threw the flag.
Instead of somebody closer.
They had the referee and the lineman right there by the play and didn't throw anything.
To me, I think I would have let that go. It was not egregious.
Right.
It was after the play, but it was not egregious. 1st and 10 for Brush after the personal foul against Fort Morgan. Backs are split, and there is the give to Bruno, right up the gut towards the 25. They'll give him 4 yards. The first hit was made by, looks like Kenneth Underwood. Oh, close to 5 yards for Bruno.
Yeah, Kenneth goes by Cade.
Right. Yep, you did tell me that last week. Yeah. 9.5 to go before the break. Brush 3, Fort Morgan nothing. The Beat Diggers are nearing the red zone. 2nd down and 5 for the 25. Rico on the counter to Calvillo. Speed to the outside to the 23, maybe the 22. But 2 defenders right there, including Aguirre and Underwood, to bring him down for a gain of 3. 3rd down and 2 to go for Brush. But they're doing enough to make these very easy, manageable situations on 3rd down.
Especially when you got a kid like Bruno back there. I mean, he can pick up 2 yards in his sleep.
Right.
That's a good point. When does Brian ever not make a good point? Or Kevin? 3rd down and 2. The give. Bruno, 1st down to the 15, a stiff arm to the 10. And Bruno's inside the 10. 1st and goal for the Beat Diggers down at the 7. It's a gain of 14 yards for Richie Bruno.
I don't think he was sleeping that time.
No.
Nope.
I believe he had his eyes wide open.
And they'll just run it up the middle till we stop them, and then they'll pop it outside again.
That was Bruno's 9th carry. 1st and goal for the 7. Rico with a back split. Hands it off to Bruno. Breaks out of a tackle. Spins. Down at the 6. Nice job by the Mustangs defensively. A gain of only 1. And let's see. In on the hit for Fort Morgan was Dominic Vasquez. But that's the thing you have to do with Bruno. Get him running laterally to his left or right. In fact, Looks like he got back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. It's still at the 7-yard line as we have 8 minutes to go in the second quarter. Brush up by a field goal, looking for more. Bruno and Calvillo in the backfield. They're split. Second and goal for the 7. Rico hands off to Calvillo, running left towards a pylon. Touchdown, Brush. 7 yards away. And there's a flag down, though. That could nullify the touchdown.
Yeah.
And they're, yep. That is against Brush. The touchdown is nullified. Not sure if that was a hold or a block in the back. He did have lots of room, and sometimes you have to wonder why, and it is a hold. That'll draw them back to the 18-yard line, essentially an 11-yard penalty.
Right.
David Keller on the sidelines, who graduated in 2023. Good to see some Fort Morgan Mustangs back there from past years or even earlier this year. So it's second and goal now from the 18-yard line. And again, Rico did have a touchdown pass last week, but he threw an interception on the final play of the first quarter, picked off by Noah Aguirre.
Ball's to 13.
Check that. It's at the 13. Rico's going to roll to his left on the bootleg to the 10. Rico to the 5. Rico towards a pylon, and he is in for a touchdown, I believe.
No, he's out at the
No,
3.
he's out at the very close.
2 or
At the
3.
2. Yep. A gain of 11 for Eric Rico, but that was a nicely designed bootleg.
Yep.
So the penalty actually went for only about 6 yards, not 11, as I was erroneously stating earlier.
And I don't know who the offensive coordinator for Brush is, but that's just classic football. Punch it inside till they stop you and then pop it outside. And
Third and goal from the 2. Rico hands off to Bruno. That is a Brush touchdown behind his right guard, 2 yards away for Richie Bruno. His first touchdown of the season. And the Bead Diggers lead 9-0.
Yeah, pretty easy for them, really, especially only 2 yards to go. Third down, if they wouldn't have made it, they'd have went for it on fourth anyway. So
47 yards and 11 carries for Richie Bruno. Eric Rico to attempt the extra point, and that one splits the uprights. 7:43 to go. Second quarter from Legion Field. It is Brush 10, Fort Morgan nothing on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. John Beltran back with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde. Again, Brian operating on a short field. They were nearly at midfield when the drive started, and Richie Bruno scores from 2 yards out.
Yep.
And it's 10-0. Mustangs need a big play on special teams. Rico with a high end-over-end kick, fielded at the 5-yard line by Langford. To his left to the 15. Swings it to the outside, back to the inside across the 20. And then he's stacked up and still will not go down near the 25-yard line. A return of close to 20 yards for Charlie Langford. But the Mustangs have not scored since the first possession of the season, which means they've gone 4.5, almost 5 quarters without finding the end zone.
mm-hmm.
And you talked about doing something, Kevin, in the playbook to maybe throw off Brush. I don't know if they're going to be thrown off, but something to at least maneuver the ball down the field.
Well, they need to figure out what's going on up front with those offensive linemen and why the Brush defense seems to be back in the backfield before the handoffs are made a lot of times.
First and 10 for the Mustangs at their own 25-yard line. 30-yard field goal from Rico, 2-yard TD run by Bruno from the pistol. One in the backfield. This will be a give, and swinging it to the outside is Ortega. He's going to be thrown for a loss back at the 21. No blocking there. I mean, there was Bruno trying to see who got it first. I think it was Ludgate who threw Samson Ortega for a loss of 4. And they might have to run more in between the tackles and swinging it to the outside because there's nothing there.
Yeah, when they try to run outside, Brush does good assignment football, and that end contains or at least makes them run deep enough that the linebackers can fill. And when they run inside, they're just there.
Well, I think you have to establish the passing game at this point.
Yeah, you got to loosen it up a little bit. They're just going to keep stacking everybody up within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage.
Second down and 14 from their own 21. Play action. Marquez to throw. Hit as he throws. It's going to be incomplete. A leaping attempt at the 35-yard line, but incomplete.
Caleb Jimenez in there again. He's been in there. He's been a thorn in his side, that's for sure.
Yeah, they're only rushing 3.
And they threw that to the freshman, Dawson Cawn. He's a tremendous athlete, but nothing he could do there. I've got Marquez at 1 for 5 for 1 yard. That was that little wide receiver screen to Charlie Langford. Third down and 14 to go from their own 21. 6:43 to go, second quarter. Brush 10, Fort Morgan nothing. From the pistol, Marquez. Deep drop, pressure coming, and the screen pass is thrown, caught underneath at the 20 to the 30-yard line, trying to break tackles to about the 32. Is that Ortega there who made the catch? And it is. Well, they got a lot of the yardage back. They got 11 yards back, but it's 4th down and 3. And I really like that play call.
Yeah, that was like a old school middle screen, and I don't think I've ever seen Fort Morgan run a play like that. You know,
but these are desperate times.
Yeah, and then it's new coaching. Yeah, I mean, I know they've been here a few years, but it's not like desperate times. You're right.
Now Romero's going to take off. He should have a first down on the fake, and he's got it. Oh, what a play call across the 35. Trey Romero off the fake punt gets to the 38-yard line, a gain of 6, and that was a genius call by the coaching staff.
That was nice.
I'll be honest with you. If he doesn't make it, I think it's a good call. It's a risky call, but I mean, it's a 4th and 3, and you're thinking on your own side of the field, no way that they're going to go for it, and yet they executed the fake punt. Mustangs only have 1 timeout left, but still plenty of time midway through quarter number 2. On 1st and 10 at their own 38-yard line. Marquez to throw. Out to his right. It's caught. Thrown behind him, but Charlie Langford adjusted near the sideline to the 47. And the gain is close to 9 yards.
It's like you guys said earlier when we threw that first pass and went for it all. We need to go and take what they give us, and if they're going to play us deep, let's take 5, 6, 7 yards on the pass every time.
Second down and a long 1 to go. And like Fort Morgan, Brush has a lot of two-way players. Eric Rico, Sanchez Calvillo, Wiley Eicher, Richie Bruno, Tanner Ludgate. From the pistol, man in motion to the right. That is Wiedrich on 2nd down and 1 from their own 47. There's the give to Ortega. Dances his way out of trouble, but there is a flag down, and that looked like a hold as he's down at the 49-yard line. Would be a first down, but I think an offensive lineman for the Mustangs wrapped his right arm around a beat digger defender, and this will be face mask. Check it against Fort Morgan.
Yeah, took his helmet off.
Yeah, that's even worse. Instead of 10 yards, it's 15, and a 2nd and 1 turns into a 2nd and 16. Man, that is as big a mistake as the turnover earlier.
And they're going to have to figure out how to get these young kids to play with passion without letting that passion go too far.
There you go. I got to just look straight, John, for the water. I'm blind today. 2nd down and 16 to go for the Mustangs. They've got to get to the 48. They're at their own 32-yard line. Clock continues to run. 4:42 to go, second quarter. Naked backfield. Marquez to throw. Pressure is coming for the backside. He'll take off with the football, and then he's tackled across the 35 towards the 36. But they're going to say his knee was down at the 35, a gain of 3. 3rd and 13 to go for Fort Morgan.
Yeah, they need to pick up 9-10 yards on this to make it decent to try to go for it on 4th down.
Brian, what I'm wondering is why they're not running Marquez a little bit more on that deception, reading his keys, because he did a nice job on the first drive, but now it's 3rd and long. Quick drop, slant, dropped by Lopez at the 44. It was right in his hands. I don't think it was knocked away. I think he just dropped it. It would have been short of a first down. But now I don't anticipate a second consecutive fake punt as now instead of 4th and 3, it's 4th and 13. I like that pass thrown by Marquez.
Yeah, it looked good. Looked like it was right on the money.
Marquez is now 3 of 8. And that is a high, short end over end. Bounces at the 44 brush. And this will be some of their worst field position, but still pretty good at the 37. And indicative of a punt that went about 30 yards, less than 30 yards. And Brush still has all their timeouts and 3:45 to go. And they don't need to use them unless that Fort Morgan defense stiffens up a bit.
And I think if I'm Brush, I'd be happy going in up 10-0 and maintaining possession and just pounding Fort Morgan a little more.
Under center's Eric Rico, 1st and 10 from the 37. He'll take the bootleg right, and he's down for a loss of 5. Oh, man, that was read beautifully over there by Underwood. He slipped, but he slipped because he tried to make a cut on Underwood, and he wasn't having any of it. Talk about staying in your lane, and that's exactly what Cade Underwood did. 2nd down and 15 for the 32. Now in a passing situation, but don't discount a possible handoff to Bruno. Bruno has it right up the middle, but he's got very little to the 33. He's got a yard. That's it. Fort Morgan staying disciplined with Oscar Ramirez, another big X factor. He was a key player on that 2021 state championship team. 12 carries, 48 yards for Bruno. 3rd and 14. Fort Morgan's going to get this ball back with plenty of time with 2:39 to go. Are they going to eat up some clock and then call a timeout because they're taking time getting the play in? 3rd and 14. Racing up to the line of scrimmage. Play clock is down to 2, down to 1. Are they going to get it off? And they call a timeout. Coach Rosenbrock called a timeout with 2:26 to go in the second. Yeah, the one thing that this game is missing is a spark. Just looking for that spark. You've had a couple of nice defensive plays. Interception by Aguirre. Marquez was sacked and fumble was recovered by Brush. But we haven't seen anything. I guess the word I'm looking for is a dynamic play.
Right.
You know, something that really stands out that you say to yourself, I'm going to remember that play at the end of this game. And maybe the dynamic play was the Aguirre interception because it was tipped by one teammate and intercepted by another.
Yeah, just, it's too early yet to tell whether the Mustangs in 2023 are going to have those dynamic players that we're so used to them having, one or two or multiple players. Whether it's, Frankie Ortega punting it and punting at 40 yards, 45, 50 yards on average, something like that. We don't have that. We don't have the offensive and defensive line that we had.
3rd and 14. Rico will roll out to his left, setting up, throwing towards the sideline, incomplete. Intended for Proctor at the 42 and defended beautifully over there by Cameron Dalia Jr. 4th down, and Brush will have to punt, and Eric Rico is 0 of 3 with a pick.
Yeah, and I'm not so sure that I like that call by the Brush coaching staff. You'd get another 25 seconds off the clock if you ran it, and you're not going to pick up 16 yards, 15 yards,
especially against a team that only has one timeout left.
Right.
Yep. Richie Bruno to punt, standing at his own 20. Let's see if Angel Lopez can do something electric. He awaits at the 34, and Brush has to call a second timeout with a clock stop. Well, that hurts their cause a little bit. We'll be next Friday here, the following Friday here, the Friday after that here. So in order, Roosevelt a week from tomorrow, and they're the defending state champion and favored to win it again. then Pueblo County in week 4, and then the 4-game homestand will close out on the 22nd. Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde will be with you on the 22nd when Fort Morgan hosts Frederick.
Another very good team.
Yeah, Frederick lost to Holy Family last week. I
Big
believe.
time.
And then Holy Family is now up against defending 4A state champion Broomfield, who put a whooping on longtime rivalry Longmont. So I think we'll see some good football on one side of the ball, you know, when Roosevelt's here and Frederick's here and Holy Family, and when we go to Lutheran.
4th and 9. Mustangs jumped off sides. So Richie Bruno at his own 25, and that time it was the man on the left side for Brush moving, so back to the original line of scrimmage at the 33.
Dylan Krob, a sophomore, in on special teams.
This is a big punt for Richie Bruno. And another movement there, but I guess you're allowed to go in motion anyway. There's a high, gorgeous spiraling punt, bouncing at the 25, taking a huge brush roll down to the 16-yard line.
I know you can move, but I thought it had to be laterally. I didn't think it was towards the line of scrimmage.
I think you can go to the line of scrimmage as long as you get set again for a full second before
and that's what
snaps.
happened.
Yeah.
But you can't simulate the beginning of a play, which leaning forward and taking a step forward towards the line is pretty much.
That looked like it was illegal. 47-yard punt, no return. And Fort Morgan again losing the field position game. They've only got one timeout and 2 minutes and 9 seconds to go. They have completed 3 passes in the opening half. And you do have a game breaker in there in Charlie Langford.
And the wind is picking up and blowing in their face, so that won't bode well for long passes. Let's just hope there's not a turnover that gives Brush a cheap, easy touchdown here at the end of the half and puts us out of reach.
Well, the end of the half killed Fort Morgan last week. 1st and 10 at their own 16. Marquez with nobody behind him. Quarterback draw, runs to his left, across the 20, and then he's tackled at the 24, gain of 8. Positive carry for J.J. Marquez. But they've got to get up to the line of scrimmage. Marquez, 28 yards on 6 carries, not bad for him.
Yeah, usually they bring in Trey Romero for the running quarterback, but they've got him running it tonight.
Receiver split each side. 2nd and short. Marquez to throw, and he's going to be sacked. Back at the 23. Stepped up in the pocket. Taken down, only a loss of a couple. And
he needs to feel that pressure and just throw it right at the feet of that receiver and save the yardage and the time. I know he's just a sophomore and he'll learn those things. That'll be a good coaching point in film time. But
Brody Dick brought him down. 3rd down and 4. We have under 1 minute to go. If Fort Morgan doesn't pick this up, if I'm Brush, I call the last time out and try to block it. 3rd down and 4. There's the give. Ortega with a 1st down across the left sideline to the 35, and he's out of bounds. Good job of running out of bounds to the 34 for a gain of 11. We have 45.6 seconds to go. Excellent play call and well executed by the offensive line. But you are down 10-0 late in the first half.
And Brush's linebackers are lining up, 6 yards deep, keeping everything in front of them.
And Marquez back to throw at his own 25, sets up. He's got plenty of time, tosses over the middle. That should be incomplete.
Yep.
A diving attempt at the 45 by Angel Lopez, but into the ground.
Plenty of time to pass on that one, though.
Yep.
But they're falling back into their, I guess you call like a prevent defense.
Yep.
Marquez, 3 out of 9 for 21 yards. 37.7 to go. Well, see what happened there. They went into that defense because of the screenplay that paid off so well. So Brush is looking out for that. 2nd down and 10. The Bee-Diggers coming on a blitz. The ball is loose. Ramirez and pitches it back to Marquez. He's going to have to run the ball to the outside, a stiff arm, but then Richie Bruno throws him to the ground at the 38-yard line for a gain of 4. Nice adjustment there, and now the Mustangs call their final timeout. Final timeout called by Fort Morgan at their own 38. 3rd down and 6 to go. 24.7 seconds remaining. That was very unconventional. The ball was on the turf, picked up by Ramirez, pitched it back to Marquez. You know what I think you've got to do here? Little hook and ladder.
Yeah, that'd
Something,
be nice.
yeah,
Yeah,
you've got to do something the other team is not expecting. So you've got to get to the 48 on a 3rd down and 5. I checked at the 43. They're at the 38. Maybe even the 44. So let's say 3rd and 6. Let me correct the math. 3rd down and 6. The Bee-Diggers have a 30-yard field goal from Eric Rico and a 2-yard touchdown run by Richie Bruno and lead 10-0.
And Brush is pretty much conceding the 1st down. They've got their safeties lined back up 30 yards downfield.
Well, Miguel Davila does have a very strong leg. He could nail a field goal from 40, 45 yards away if they have that shot. Marquez will roll out to his left. He has plenty of time. Will throw on the run, and that pass is incomplete at the 49 in front of the Brush bench. Intended for Angel Lopez. Again, a little bit of a low throw. Now, 18.6 seconds to go. Romero's in there to punt, or setting up to punt.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? If they just, somebody's down.
Somebody hurt somewhere?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
Fort Morgan on the other side.
Angel Lopez was,
Oh, okay.
he's okay. He's getting up on his own. Well, if they decided to run a fake, which I doubt they'll do, that would shoot time off the clock, and Brush has not completed a pass, so you can still do something a little bit crazy here. I don't think they're going to do it. And Romero at his own 25 on a 4th down and 6. 13 yards behind center in punt formation. Max protect for Romero with 3 Mustangs, 5 yards in front of him. High snap, heavy pressure. He gets it off towards the sideline. A short punt. Bounces at the 44. Takes a little bit of a Fort Morgan roll to the 41. 9.2 seconds to go. Only a punt of 21 yards. You don't want to get too cute here if you're Brush.
Conventional wisdom would be take a knee and go in with the momentum.
Unconventional wisdom might not exist here. Just
That's true.
we'll see.
Maybe Brush pulls out the old double reverse that they used to run with their junior high team back in the day.
On 1st and 10 at their own 41-yard line. Yeah, this is going to be the victory formation where you just protect the quarterback and the ball. Eric Rico takes the knee, and we will take a break. We are at halftime with the score from Legion Field in Fort Morgan. Brush 10, Fort Morgan nothing on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Miguel Davila will kick off for the first time in tonight's game. Juan Sanchez Calvillo standing at his own 9-yard line. Now, what we saw out of Davila last week was very impressive. 2 kickoffs that went fairly deep into the end zone against Conifer. A little bit more elevation in Conifer, but
He's got a nice win behind him today.
yep, without a doubt. As they are standing for the kickoff on both sides. Davila, a left-footed kicker for Fort Morgan. Runs up to that football. What a thunder leg. This one is about 3 yards deep into the end zone. This guy could be a weapon. If Fort Morgan can generate some offense, he could be a real weapon. So the Bee Diggers will have it. A field goal in the first quarter, a touchdown in the second quarter. One turnover for each team. 157 yards of total offense. 90 for Brush and 67 for Fort Morgan.
There's a big, almost full moon rising.
And there is the give it. A big hole up the middle. Richie Bruno across the 30 to the 32, maybe the 33. That's a quick hitter. And a first down for Brush, a gain of 13. And Bruno is up to 61 yards.
Yeah, I was just thinking the Mustangs need to stiffen up here and try to get the ball back in flip field position. Well, that went out the window on the first play.
Right.
Well, still not great field position, but you're right, Brian. It's a heck of a lot better now for Brush at their own 33-yard line with a back split. Rico on the inside handoff, or was that a pitch to the outside? And it was. Across the 35 to the 37. That might be Ludgate or Cox trying to fish down that number. And could that have been Bruno again? Let's see.
No, I don't think so. You
No.
blocking for him.
Gain of 4. I don't think the PA even saw the number. Right in front of the Brush bench on the far side. Second down and 6 yards to go for the 37-yard line. Rico hands it off to Bruno, right up the gut to the 40. Upended, a gain of 3. 3rd and 3. And the first Fort Morgan Mustang tackler was Carson Roth. Bruno had 18 carries last week in a double overtime loss to Wiggins. He's up to 14 this week. 3rd and 3 for the 40. Rico rolls out to his right. Not much running room, and he's down for a loss. That's going to go, well, yep, tackle for loss, not a sack. I don't think he was intending to throw. Nobody was out there.
Right.
A very unusual play call there, a loss of 3. And Brush is going to have to punt. I don't think you think about going for that.
No, not with the 10-0.
I have to tell you, Kevin, I'm dumbfounded by that call.
Right. Well, you know, you're pounding it up the middle, and if Fort Morgan goes up the middle to try and stop you, and you break free out there, but it was a great defensive play by Underwood, and then you had some support from the other teams.
But the Mustangs have played assignment football tonight. They haven't overrun plays. High snap. Richie Bruno has it blocked. It is blocked, and the ball is loose. And the Mustangs have it at the 24-yard line. Holy mahungus, great field position for the Mustangs.
And a little bit of old man Mo coming over the Fort Morgan bench. Let's hope they can take advantage of the score.
I don't have a 20 on the roster who recovered the fumble. I'm not sure who blocked it. But great field position now for Fort Morgan inside the 25-yard line. That could be, as Kevin mentioned, a momentum turner with just over 9.5 remaining third quarter. And special teams is what really helped them last year get their first win against Pueblo County. From the pistol, the 23 of Brush. Marquez will hand it off to Ortega, running left, back to the middle, towards the sideline again, a first down across the 15, maybe to the 12. Calvillo threw him down, a gain of 11 for Samson Ortega.
That's what they need. They need to ride this and ride it into the end zone now.
Yeah, no mistakes.
Well, it could be a brand new ball game. You've got the kicker out there. If you don't get into the end zone, is very good. 1st and 10 from the 12-yard line of Brush. Marquez will hand it off to no, he'll keep it himself. Nice fake, stiff arm, but he's down. Ludgate threw him down. Back to the line of scrimmage as Marquez tried to run to his right. That is disciplined football by Brush because Marquez had nobody else to run by. It was just Ludgate. 2nd down and 10 to go for the Mustangs at the Brush 12-yard line. The Beet Diggers lead 10-0 early in the 3rd quarter. Lining up on the right hash mark, Ortega is the lone setback. Pistol formation once again. Man in motion to the left. This is Ortega for very little to the 11, maybe. Sanchez Calvillo with penetration. 3rd down and 9 to go for Fort Morgan.
And just like that, Brush stiffens up. Mustangs can't find a hole now.
Right.
Well, again, you do have a fantastic kicker in terms of a leg in Miguel Davila. If you don't get into the end zone, you would make it a 1-score game.
Well, that would be a moral victory, I think, for Brush.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely, considering the field position was near the red zone to begin the drive. 3rd and 9 from the 11. Naked backfield. Trips to the left. Marquez is going to roll that way. It could be a holding on the backside. He's going to be hit, and he's going to be sacked. At the 16-yard line, Calvillo kept coming. He was untouched and threw Marquez for a 5-yard loss. And he was nearly grabbed. It could have been worse than a 5-yard loss, and thank goodness he held on to the football. Brian, I was thinking that was a chance for a turnover.
Yeah, because I don't think he had any idea that kid was coming. He had his back to it, and he was looking off to his left, and good job of holding on to the ball.
Charlie Langford will hold a 33-yard field goal attempt, left to right for Miguel Davila. There's the snap. The kick is up. It's a line drive. That looks good, and it is. Just over the crossbar.
Yeah, that wasn't pretty.
Yep.
Wasn't pretty, but it's 3 points, and now we're only down by a touchdown.
7 minutes, 2 seconds to go, 3rd quarter in Fort Morgan. The Beet Diggers 10, the Fort Morgan Mustangs 3 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Well, the Mustangs only went 7 yards forward, even though they picked up a 1st down, but then they were driven back by a sack. They get a 33-yard field goal from Davila, and he kicks it up high and towards the sideline, fielded by Calvillo at the 1, to his left to the 10, jitterbuggy to the 15. He's wrapped up at the 20, a return of about 19 yards. Now the Mustangs and Beet Diggers getting pretty physical on special teams. And Brush has got to do a little bit better on this drive than they did on their first if they don't want Fort Morgan to have a possession to tie this game up. So we've had 2 field goals in this game. 30 yards from Rico Brush, 33 from Miguel. I've heard Davila. I'd like to say Davila, but maybe I'll switch to that. 1st and 10 at the 20. The backs are split. Option left. There's the pitch. The ball is loose, and Ludgate falls on it at the 9-yard line. And again, the Beet Diggers trying to diversify the playbook, and it's not working out.
Right. They started off the half with a nice, 16-yard run by Bruno, and haven't really gone back to that.
That was a loss of about 11. 2nd down and 21 to go. The Beet Diggers are allowing the Mustangs to come back in this game. You get a blocked punt. You're losing yardage from the 9. Rico will hand it off to Bruno, but he has very little. Nice defense by the Mustangs, wrapping him up at about the 10-yard line. A gain of only 1 for Richie Bruno, who is up to 65 yards on 15 carries. 3rd down. Well, still the same thing.
Yeah. Brush isn't really a third and long type team. At least they haven't shown that they are yet.
Well, they're 0 for 3 passing with an interception. It's 3rd and 21. They're at the 9. It's got to get to the 30. Let's see what Rico decides to do. He drops the ball. It's still loose. And I think a bead digger fell on it. But that was a disaster for Brush. If there's a worse drive they have this season, it's going to be a long season.
Yes.
A disaster. Well, Kevin was talking about momentum, and it's clearly on the Mustang side. Richie Bruno is halfway into the end zone with just over 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Brush 10, Fort Morgan 3. And we've got a flag down. That's a false start against Brush.
Yep, that was
I mean, there's no doubt that Fort Morgan should be starting this drive at the very least, Brian, at the 35, maybe the 30-yard line of Brush.
Yeah, this will be their best drive off of a punt anyway, or should be.
And this is, I think, a key is that Angel Lopez actually gets under this and catches it, even if it's a fair catch, so it doesn't roll.
There's a line drive. It'll bounce at the 36. Lopez has it at the 38. Makes a move to the 35. Swings it to the right side, and he's across the 30. Lopez is still going, and down at the 28. That's a nifty return for Angel Lopez. And the Mustangs are in business. But can they generate consistent offense?
Right. And really, Brush, it seems like Brush isn't even stunting. It's just their linebackers are making the plays. Fort Morgan's got to figure out a way to get a hat on them and slow them down.
1st and 10 at the 29-yard line for the Mustangs, down by 7 in the third quarter. Pistol formation. Marquez rolls out to his right, throws off his back foot, caught underneath by Ramirez, but a short gain, tackled right in front of the Brush bench.
And he's not getting up.
No, he was thrown down pretty hard. Hopefully just the wind knocked out of him. It's only a gain of about a yard to the 28.
But at least they're trying some different plays. They're not just going back to something that gets stuffed. They are going to new things that are getting stopped short, but at least it's new things.
Something different anyway.
Right.
Give that defense a little bit, something else for them to look at and think about.
Hopefully his body just got twisted around because his helmet is off. When the helmet is off, that's never a very good sign.
They're working on his right leg, it looks like.
Well,
stretching
hopefully,
him out maybe.
Hopefully that's a cramp.
Right. It was a pretty warm day, and definitely a warmer night than it was last week while we were playing.
Yep, without a doubt. There were no cramps last week. That looks like a cramp.
Maybe both legs. Now they're working on the left leg.
Yeah.
It's strange that all those Brush players are just huddled or kneeling right there, 2 feet away from them. But I guess it's their sideline.
Yep, Ramirez is up, limping off after a pickup of a yard. Well, are they going to extend that football a little bit more to the 27? So maybe 2 there. Only the 4th completed pass for J.J. Marquez in 11 attempts. Are they capable of the big play? That's the thing. Last week they had a big play. 38-yard touchdown run by Samson Ortega. Ramirez still coming off the field because he's got to go the entire distance. That's about 50 yards from one end to the other. I think it is, because NFL field is 53 yards wide.
53 1/3 is how wide the field is.
Yeah.
Yep.
2nd and 8 for the 27-yard line. A Brush. 4:24 to go in the third. Marquez back to throw, and he's going to be taken down. Thrown down. Oh, they're going to say a late hit. He was thrown down because the whistle was blown. That's going to go against Brush. That'll be a late hit because the whistle was blown while Marquez was still in the upright position.
It'll
The
be a
sack-
dead ball.
Yeah, Cole Curtis with a sack, but Cole Curtis with a personal foul. What a break. It's still not a first down, by the way.
Should have just let him go.
Marquez has been sacked 3 times unofficially. It's at the 21.
Yeah, that's got to be a hard call for an official because they let them do that so often.
Yeah.
Continue the play and pile them up. But I think it was the fact that he was standing on his own, wasn't going down, and he just kind of let up, and the other guy threw him to the ground.
3rd down and 2. At the 21-yard line of Brush. Let's see what Marquez does here. Looking to throw out to his left. Caught, first down. Angel Lopez to the 8. Beautiful play by the Mustangs. A 1st and goal. And a gain of about 13.
And that's that quick type of passing that we need to get going. And the pass is where he's throwing, and there's no way it can be intercepted unless it's tipped to the second level.
Ball's going to be placed at the 7-yard line. And Ben Fritzler, I believe, is making his first appearance in the game. We have not seen him. From the pistol, man in motion. Handoff, Fritzler. He's going to be wrapped up in the backfield and thrown down by a bevy of Brush Bee Diggers. Wow, he was swallowed up.
Yep.
First contact was made by Andrew Herrera, sophomore. The loss is 5. 2nd down and goal to go for the 12. Maybe a passing situation. Fritzler still in the backfield. And the Bee Diggers crossed the line of scrimmage. Calvillo came across. That's not a smart play.
No.
You have 2nd and goal at the 12. You don't need to take a chance like that.
That's right.
Rush has made a lot of mistakes in this quarter. And the Bee Diggers right now are in danger of having this game tied if the Mustangs can just travel 7 more yards. Clock continues to run after the penalty. 2:43 remaining 3rd quarter. Rush 10, Fort Morgan 3. 2nd and goal for the 7. Marquez rolls out to his right, still rolling, throwing in the run towards the end zone. Caught! Touchdown, Charlie Langford! 7 yards out, and the Mustangs are to within a point. It is Rush 10, Fort Morgan 9.
Nice job out there by Charlie Langford. Nice route that he ran out there to get himself open.
And they had max protection. They had 2 guys kind of going out in front of Marquez to give him.
Now the extra point to tie the game to be attempted by Davila. Off the hold of Langford. Bee Diggers looking to block this thing. The kick is up, and that one is off to the left. He missed it. He missed it to the left. 2:29 remaining 3rd quarter. Brush 10, Fort Morgan 9 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. The Fort Morgan Mustangs take advantage of a short field, a 7-yard touchdown pass from J.J. Marquez to Charlie Langford. But Miguel Davila, who made a 33-yard field goal, missed. A 19-yard extra point straight away. Brush still leads 10-9. Miguel to kick it off. Juan Sanchez Calvillo standing inside the goal line. High and deep. Calvillo comes up and it hits off his right hand, picks it up at the 3 to the 10-yard line, towards the right sideline to the 15. Tackled across the 20, maybe to the 21. Austin Hall, a freshman on special teams, made the tackle for Fort Morgan. That's a huge missed extra point. It always is.
Right. Well, and Brush's game last week, there were 3 missed field or extra points, and then a final one in the overtime, although they had to go for 2.
Yeah, that was a 2-point. But you're right. But if any of those extra points are converted, Brush might have won. But Wiggins did miss those. 1st and 10 for Brush at their own 21-yard line. The give to Bruno, left side, stacked up after a gain of about 3, maybe 4. Good run defense by the Mustangs. 2nd down. And about 6 to go. Wyatt Patterson was in on the hit. Richie Bruno has carried the ball 16 times for 68 yards. A battering ram for Brush. 2nd down and 6 at the 25. Rico is going to hand it off to Bruno. He's got nowhere to go. The Bee Diggers are getting outworked there by Fort Morgan. Trey Romero, along with Carson Roth, who's had a heck of a game. It's actually a loss. 3rd down and 7 to go at their own 24, and Brush has had no passing game. 0 for 3 with a pick. And last week they had a touchdown in the 2nd overtime from Rico to the tight end Brody Dick. Proctor and Eicher are the receivers. A minute to go in the 3rd. 3rd and 7. Rico handoff left side. Bruno spins, drives well short of a 1st down to the 27. Maybe the 28 will give him 3 yards. And that's it. Fort Morgan just cleaning this up defensively.
Brush hasn't sent their punting team in yet. Well, here they come.
Noah Aguirre in on the tackle. And on 4th down and 4, Brush will punt. The Mustangs were down 10-0 at halftime. Now it's 10-9. Lopez back deep to receive. Bruno awaiting the snap. Perfect snap, light rush. Not much movement on that football. Bounces the 45. Takes a huge Bee Digger roll down to the 34. 38 yards with no return. And with 1.1 second to go, Mustang football. But they have clearly won the 3rd quarter, Kevin.
Yep. Absolutely. And that's a positive going forward. Hopefully they can continue it into the 4th and win this game. But even just having 1 quarter, that was good.
On 1st and 10 at the 34. J.J. Marquez from the pistol formation. Awaits a snap. Looks over towards the sideline with his offensive teammates. Ortega's in the backfield. A field goal and a touchdown, but a missed extra point for the Mustangs in the 3rd. And this will be a handoff to Ortega. Leaps over a defender across the 40 to the 43, a gain of 9. That's a great end to quarter number 3, setting up a 2nd down and 1.
And they were blocking on that one like they did right at the 1st quarter, on that 1st drive they had.
With the score, Brush 10, Fort Morgan 9 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Let's begin the 4th quarter. 2nd down, we'll call it 2 for the Mustangs at their own 42-yard line. Brush leads 10-9. Marquez has the snap, handoff up the middle. 1st down. That's Samson Ortega, stacked up near the 45, but he got enough. He picked up close to 3. Samson Ortega in the 2nd half has got 4 carries for 23 yards. 37 in the game on 11. Not great numbers, but he's doing what he has to do. And there's enough blocking on that line right now.
He's running hard, and he's be able to break that 1st tackle, and he'll have some success.
At their own 45-yard line, the Mustangs are looking in prime shape to take the lead. Still got to get at least into field goal range. 5 yards behind center is J.J. Marquez. Back to throw. Throws off his back foot with pressure, and the pass is going to be dropped by Lopez, maybe broken up. It might have been tipped away at the 29-yard line. Slightly underthrow. Eicher was on the coverage, but keep in mind, again, Marquez throwing off his back foot because there was a defender right on top of him.
Yeah, he had a guy right in his face. I thought it was off of Angel's hand, but there was a defender right there, and that makes it tough.
And with this swirling wind and a short pass having to come back for it, it's hard to judge those.
That's a nice job of Wiley Eicher not committing pass interference either. That could have easily been defensive pass interference had he not made the right play. 11:14 to go in the game. Brush 10, Fort Morgan 9. Game number 2. Both teams are 0-1. Second down, 10 to go for the Mustangs at their own 45. Play action. Marquez steps up, throws incomplete. Intended for Ortiz at the 47-yard line. A brush, but off his left hand. Third down and 10 to go.
Thankfully for Fort Morgan, the wind seems to be dying down a little bit. It was getting quite blustery there at halftime in the third quarter.
Well, I think you've got two choices, Brian, and neither's a pass. Either Marquez keeps it off of some deception or maybe even a draw play to Ortega. Remember, they threw that screen when something a little bit unconventional. Let's see what happens. Third down and 10. Well, now it's a naked backfield. Trips to the left. Marquez is going to roll that way. Still rolling. Here comes the pressure. Throws. Tipped. Incomplete. Off the hand of Angel Lopez at the 46-yard line. Throw behind him. Marquez has been harassed most of the game.
Yeah, even on the rollout. And that's, I've seen this from this Fort Morgan offense before where you have a right-handed quarterback and you roll him out to the left, and that is a hard throw. I don't know why they don't roll him out to the right. It's a more natural throw when you roll out to the right.
Right. It's a more natural throw. In this case, Brian, that would have shortened the field, but it would have made the throw easier. Yeah. Now to punt is Romero. End over end. Bounces the 33-yard line. The Beat Diggers will let it roll down to the 23-yard line. Punt of 32 with no return. And I'm a little bit nervous now if I'm Brush.
Right.
They picked up one first down. And Kevin, you pointed out when they picked up the first down, the first play of the second half.
Right, and no great success since then. And
they've gone backwards.
And in the field position game, it's total change from first half.
First and 10 at the 22. Rico on the give to Bruno, running off right tackle, dives across the 25, but they'll mark it right there for a gain of 3. Again, the Mustangs knowing what's coming. Cade Underwood, one of the Mustangs, into the hit. No, they'll give him close to the 26. So give him 4. Second down and 6, and we have not had a big play in the game. And Bruno comes out, 19 carries for 74 yards for Richie Bruno. From the 26. There's the give to Ludgate. To the outside, he's going to lose yardage. Oh, what a play over there.
Ben Fritzler made a really nice tackle.
Fritzler threw him down at the original line of scrimmage for a loss of 4. Third down and 10. Bay Diggers have lots of issues to figure out offensively before their game next Friday night at home against Yuma. Third down and 10 to go at their own 22-yard line. Leading Fort Morgan 10-9. Rico's going to hand it off on the left side to Sanchez Calvillo. Breaks out of a tackle, reverses his field. Across the 25, Calvillo is loose. Calvillo to the 40. Calvillo's going to be knocked down from behind by Langford at the 48-yard line. What an amazing run. A gain of 30 and a first down for Brush when Calvillo looked like he was going to take the loss, and 2 Mustangs are down. Wow. That's the play of the game so far.
Yeah, that was, you were just talking about no big plays. That was a big run. And great individual effort by that young man to see that there was nothing there and turn it back, and they'd overrun the play.
Incredible. That play, not being the same as last week, Aguirre, one of those cramping up. It reminded me of what happened before the half when Grady Forsythe was trapped.
Yeah.
And then he went about 30-some-odd yards for And that changed the whole first half because Fort Morgan was going to be up 7-6, and instead they were down 12-7.
Yeah, we'll see if the defense can stiffen now. Sometimes that happens and you get demoralized. Well, you can't let that happen now. You got to come out and play like you have in the second half.
Oh, the biggest run of the game from Juan Sanchez Calvillo of 30 yards. Biggest gain on either side. 1st and 10 for the Bee Diggers at the Mustang 48-yard line. That changes field position altogether. Rico with a handoff. Ludgate with a big hole up the middle. He carries defenders across the 40 towards the 35. And a first down for Brush. A big, strong run for Tanner Ludgate, a gain of 14. Ludgate just took a 4-yard loss. And now, Brian, you just made the point. Hopefully that does not demoralize the Mustangs, but
yeah,
the Bee Diggers have picked up some momentum.
Momentum has shifted to the Bee Diggers.
At the 34, and there's a big gainer up the middle across the 30 to the 29. That is Ludgate again.
Yeah, they're just gashing him off that right guard.
A gain of 5. Wyatt Patterson made the tackle. Yeah, Brush is not, they're not playing around now. They're getting serious from the 29, 2nd and 5. This is Calvillo right up the gut, but that time the Mustangs would have none of it. Ate him up after a gain of maybe a yard.
Trey Romero in there on that play.
Yeah, they went away from that right side and went back to the left side, and Fort Morgan was a little more stout.
3rd down and 3. Inside the 30-yard line. Up the gut. Close to a first down is Ludgate. He's got to get to the 24. I think he's got it. Based on what the officials are signaling.
Yep.
Gain of 3. It is a first down. Tanner Ludgate has taken over the brunt of the work. Down for the Mustangs is Peyton Vickers, who's been a real factor here, just clogging up that line. And he's got a cramp as well.
They're going to have to work with this team to get them to hydrate more and proper water management.
Yeah, because that's, what, 4 players in the second half alone?
At least,
Yep.
yeah.
And I think the Bee Diggers have had none.
Right.
We had 2 here, then we had Ramirez, now we have Peyton Vickers. And these are solid athletes, but you're right. You do your team no favor if you're short on water.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, they come right back into the game, but there is a short transition
Right.
in between cramping up and then getting back into the game. Vickers off the field under his own power. 7 minutes, 48 seconds to go from Legion Field. Brush leads Fort Morgan 10-9. All the points in the second half scored by Fort Morgan, but a missed extra point is the difference right now. Richie Bruno in the backfield with Tanner Ludgate. Those are 2 solid runners. Ludgate has really come through in the last 2-3 carries. Eric Rico on 1st and 10. Will hand it off to Bruno right up the middle. Big hole. Spins inside the 20 towards the 15. He might have a first down at the 14.
This is starting to look a lot like fourth quarter last week with the opposing offensive line just taking charge of the game.
Yeah, and it all switched after they made that, after that big run.
Yeah.
The second half, they've been doing a great job holding them.
It's a gain of 10 by Richie Bruno. 1st and 10 at the Fort Morgan 14. This is Calvillo off right tackle for about 3 to the 11.
Yeah, the Brush offensive line is just moving the line of scrimmage about 2.5 yards downfield right at the snap.
Well, the Mustangs have to be tired, Kevin.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're subbing in on the interior line, but, you know, they're still tired and they've been out there a lot.
2nd down and 7 inside the Fort Morgan 11. Backs are split. Rico to Bruno, down after a yard. Trey Romero with an excellent job grabbing Bruno around the ankles. And Bruno's been a workhorse. That was his 21st carry unofficially for 85 yards. Last week, 19 for 81. So that's his normal workload.
Yep.
If we can hold them here and maybe they kick a field goal, it's always a hit or miss situation. We'll have to know whether we need to get a touchdown or just get within field goal range.
3rd and 6 at the 10. Rico hands off to Bruno off right tackle inside the 10 to the 7. Gain of 3 Underwood. One of the Mustangs in on the play, along with Ben Fritzler. Well, what's going to happen now? What is going to happen now? The ball's at the 7. It's a 4th and 3. Yeah, I mean, why kick a field goal?
Right.
I'd say go for it because at Fort Morgan's got to drive a long way, and the only offense they've generated is when they've had a deep and brush territory. And clock is not a factor yet. 5.5 minutes to go. Brush will go for it on 4th down and 3 for the 7, and the Mustangs jumped.
Yep.
Holy mahungus, you cannot have that happen.
He went to the hard count. You could see him. He emphasized that count, and they jumped.
Yep, still not a first down, though.
Well, it should be because they had to get 3. That should be 3.5 yards. That should be a 1st and goal.
But from the 7, 3.5 yards puts it right there at the sticks.
Yeah,
Oh, they are giving the first.
yeah, because it was to get to the 4. So yeah, it's at just shy of the 3 now.
Yeah.
Bruno and Sanchez Calvillo in the backfield. Handoff. Bruno left side. He dives.
He fumbled it?
He is into the end zone or not.
No.
Right at the goal line is Richie Bruno. No signal yet. And now it's a touchdown. A late signal. Bruno scores for the 2nd time in the game. 3 yards away. And the Bee Diggers lead 16-9.
I think the referees lost sight of where Bruno had fallen into.
Well, the guy out here on the side started to do it, but no one in the middle did. So he waited till he went in and he made sure that no one had saw that he'd gone down early, and then gave the signal.
A huge extra point, and it is good. There's a flag down though. Let's see what the flag is all about, because that could make a difference.
Threw it in the
Might be against Fort Morgan.
Mustang backfield.
2, 4, 6,
Yep,
8,
it's
10, 12 players. Yeah, we had one too many.
a 30-second break. Brush 17, Fort Morgan 9 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. What do they need now, Kevin?
They need to march down, score, and get a 3-point extra point.
There you go. Brian, let's look at that drive, because that was a lengthy drive. We haven't had that in this game.
No, they started that at their own 22-yard line. Finally got into the end zone. Took over 5 minutes off of the clock. 5 minutes and 22 seconds.
And the kickoff from the 45 as Fort Morgan had too many players on the field. On the extra point, 17-9 Bee Diggers. A high short kick. It's going to bounce at about the 6-yard line. It's still loose, picked up by Langford. He's going to scoot to his left towards the sideline and down near the 15. And that's it. That is it. So the Mustangs do have 3 timeouts. Not a factor yet. 5:21 to go in the game. They need a touchdown and 2-point conversion to send this thing into overtime. They will start from their own 17-yard line. And the one thing you fear right now, if you put the ball up with all the pressure that Brush is coming with, is a pick. On 1st and 10 from the 17. And it looked like Ludgate came across the line of scrimmage, and he did. That's the 2nd time the Bee Diggers have done that in the last 2 Fort Morgan possessions. First down and 5. Richie Bruno tonight for Brush, 23 carries, 91 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Lopez and Langford, the receivers, to the left. They've got a receiver off to the right as well on a 1st down and 5. Marquez, quick drop, lobs it up the right side. The pass is going to be incomplete. Should be interference.
Yeah,
There comes a flag at the 50-yard line. Defended by Levi Cox, but he didn't turn around.
Yeah.
And Charlie Langford took the contact. That was a nice throw.
Yeah, it's
So
just 15 yards from the line.
Yeah, this isn't pro football, guys. That ball's going to be back at about the 32-yard line. Or check that, the 37. First and 10 at the 37. The right hash mark, perfect snap, handoff. Ortega, he's got some life across the 40, and he's down at about the 47. A gain of 10. Samson Ortega with a strong run to give him 11.
Somebody's cramping again. That's what they need. They need to get that offensive line, getting those holes opened up, get him some yardage.
Yeah, on that one, he did some good dancing to make that yard. She worked hard for those 11 yards.
Let's take a quick break. Fort Morgan trails Brush 17-9. 5:08 to go in the game on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. The Mustangs have the football. First down and 10 at the 48 after an 11-yard pickup by Samson Ortega. He's had a nice second half. He's up to 48 yards. He only had 14 at halftime. So 5 carries for 34 yards in the second half. There's the give to Angel Lopez on the end around. He is taken down for a loss. Bruno in the backfield. A loss to about the 45, a loss of 3.
And unfortunately, he misread that because if he could have just got a little more depth and got outside, he had a wall set up and he would have gone a long ways.
Second down and 13 to go for the Mustangs. Marquez looking to throw. Deep up the right side. Langford is out there. He's got it. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown. Touchdown. Holy Mahungus. That went for 55 yards. And the Mustangs are back in the game at 17-15. What a beautiful fade down the right sideline. Langford with his second touchdown catch of the game. And now they're going to go for 2 to try and tie this game.
And what are you going to call here while Brush can pack all the people in and keep you from running up the middle? You can't really run outside because the DBs are even up. It's going to be a special play.
Well, this missed extra point is really hurting Fort Morgan. I don't see Langford in there. That's another one.
Timeout. It was called timeout.
They got to call a timeout. Ty Davies not happy about that whatsoever. I took some video of that, but I might have botched. Let's see. Oh, that wouldn't be there. My camera angle. Well, I'll have that up on Facebook at some point on our B106 Facebook page. Some of the highlights of tonight's game. 17-15. 55 yards on that fade up the right sideline. What a play.
It's a beautiful pass. That's probably the best play we've seen this year out of the 2 games for the Mustangs.
That's right.
Marquez is down thrown for 78 yards in the second half. They will go for 2. Ortega's in the backfield at the 2.5-yard line. Marquez waiting on the snap. Play action. Throws out to his right. Caught! Angel Lopez has the 2-point conversion. And we are tied at 17. Holy Mahungus. Deadlocked at 17 with 4:28 to go in the game on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. The Bay Diggers had a long drive before they scored, but the Mustangs went even further, Brian.
Yep, yeah, they started at their 22-yard line also on this one, but they took a lot less time, only took 1 minute and 53 seconds. They were helped with that 15-yard pass interference.
Yep.
Well, special teams will be huge now. 4:28 to go in the game. Fort Morgan 17, Brush 17. Miguel Davila, the left footer, to kick it off. Runs towards that football. This is going to be a short kick. Fielded by one of the up men at the 17-yard line. Up the middle to the 30. A flag is down at the 33. That's going to come back.
Yep.
That one's going to come back on that 16-yard return by Percy Odell. What a gain. It's a hold against Brush. And they're going to have to break off a big one. Now, Fort Morgan, we know, used one of their timeouts moments ago. This will be inside their 20, you would think. Brush might be playing overtime for the second consecutive week.
Right, and boy, wouldn't that be a terrible way to start your season with 2 overtime losses?
It's very possible. 1st and 10 at their own 17-yard line. 4 minutes and 22 seconds to go in the game. Rico, back split, handoff, Bruno right up the gut, and a gain of 2. Carson Roth, who's played one heck of a game, throws him down. It's a gain of 2. 2nd down and 8 to go. 24 carries, 93 yards for Richie Bruno. Ludgate is out. Middle of the field for the B-Diggers. At their own 19-yard line. Rico this time on the right side to Sanchez. Calvillo drives across the 20, thrown back. After getting to the 23, the Mustangs are being relentless defensively. Oscar Ramirez came through and threw him back. Pickup of about 4. Big down coming up. 3rd. And a long 4 to go. Just shy of the 28-yard line. Rico this time, hands off to Bruno, runs into a defender, and he's down after a gain of 1. And that was Roth again.
Yeah.
Carson Roth, the senior. And now a timeout called by the Mustangs, only a gain of 1. And Brush will have to punt, and this game is for the taking for the Mustangs.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, hard to believe that this has come down to this after the way the Mustangs played first half. But unfortunately, Brush made some pretty serious mistakes second half and let them back in it, and now it's anybody's game.
Well, and Brian did say you got to get the passing game involved, and there were a couple of key passes, including the 55-yarder to Charlie Langford, which drew the Mustangs to within 2. Then a pass to Angel Lopez to tie the game.
Yep. Yeah, Lopez was out there on an island. I mean, they had one guy out there to cover him, and he just made that out cut, and JJ found him. The Mustangs, again, should have some excellent field position.
Richie Bruno to punt. Standing at his own 12-yard line. Let's see the Mustangs come with some pressure. Still awaiting the snap. He gets it off, end over end. It'll bounce at the 48 of Fort Morgan. Take a Mustang roll to the 42. 34-yard punt, no return. Well, you can certainly run the ball, but J.J. Marquez has picked up a notch of confidence because he knows that if he gets Charlie Langford one-on-one with any defender, just throw it out there.
Yeah, Charlie's good at getting open, got good hands.
And this is where those like 10-yard stops and 10-yard outs will be real effective because they're not going to want to get beat deep another time.
1st down and 10 for the Mustangs at their own 42. 3 minutes and 2 seconds to go in the game. Rush 17, Fort Morgan 17. From the pistol, Marquez has the football. We'll hand it off to Ortega up the middle. Big hole across the 45. Spins to the 50, and he's down near the 1st down marker. He wants a face mask as his helmet came off. I don't think he's going to get it. It's a gain of 9 to the 49 for Samson Ortega. Has to come out for a play. Ortega now with 57 yards on 13 carries. Second down and 1 to go from the 49. The Mustangs are not too far away from field goal range with 2.5 to go and 1 timeout. And the Bean Diggers could be getting tired defensively. Marquez back to throw, plenty of protection. Lobs it deep over the middle, pass is incomplete. Lopez double covered at the 15-yard line. I think that's an excellent play call because it's a 2nd and 1.
Right.
Just go for the home run. If it doesn't work, not a problem. 3rd down and a yard to go. Because you know what they're going to do now. This should be Samson Ortega.
He's not back in there yet, though.
Up Fritzler is. Well, Fritzler took a loss in his only carry. So maybe Marquez will keep this. 3rd down and 1 from the Bean Digger 49-yard line. Is Marquez going to keep it? He's got the football, hands it off to Fritzler, and I think he's got a 1st down. He does. Just across the 48, running to his left. He needed a yard, got about a yard and then some change. Only 2nd carry of the game there for Ben Fritzler. The clock ticks down to 2:08 to go in the game. 1st and 10 for the Mustangs, just inside the Brush 48-yard line. Got to get about at least 25 more yards for legitimate field goal range for Miguel Davila. J.J. Marquez, quick drop, throws it out to his right. It's off the hands of Dawson Call at the 43, thrown a little bit behind him, defended by Hunter Proctor. 2nd down to go for Fort Morgan. That was pass attempt number 19 for J.J. Marquez. He's completed 7 of 19. And 2nd down and 10 to go. Just across the 48-yard line of Brush. 1 minute, 52 seconds to go. Brush 17, Fort Morgan 17. Marquez, shotgun, running back to his left. 2-step drop, slant, incomplete. Lopez had it at the 41. It was right there.
Yeah.
That should have been caught.
Yeah, he's got to catch those. That was right in his hands. He had to go up for it, but it was chest level.
Yeah, you can't really deliver the ball any better than that.
3rd down and 10 for the 48. Well, here's the thing. If Fort Morgan doesn't pick it up, unless they're within 2 yards, maybe 3, they're going to have to punt. We have 1 minute and 48 seconds to go. 3rd down and 10 from the Brush 48-yard line. Pistol formation, Marquez to throw. Underneath, caught by Lopez at the 48 to the 45. Wiggles to the 40. A 1st down. A flag is down at the 33. It's a gain of 15. Now let's see if it's coming back.
Yeah, it's going to be a blind side. Nope, walking it back. Yeah.
Yep. Part of it is coming back because it was downfield. I think Fort Morgan will pick up some yardage. I think they'll pick up some yardage because it wasn't behind the line of scrimmage. I don't think it was.
No, he threw it clear down here by the 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's now a 3rd and 13. So you still give Marquez a completion there of about 7 yards to Lopez. 3rd down and 13 from midfield. 1:39 to go in the game. Marquez back to throw. Lobs it deep up the left sideline, and it is going to be broken up by Hunter Proctor, intended for Langford. You cannot defend any better than that, and Marquez threw the ball pretty well. But Hunter Proctor stayed with the receiver, Charlie Langford. It's 4th down.
So you're going to have to punt here and then hold Brush on a couple plays and take your chances at overtime.
And now Trey Romero will stand at his own 35. A minute 33 to go in the game, and the Mustangs move. They did move there. You have to believe Brush is going to come with pressure here.
You bet.
On 4th down and 18 to go at the 45-yard line on their own side of the field. It was 10-0. Rush at halftime. Here comes the pressure. Gets it off short, end over end, towards the Morgan sideline and out of bounds. Well, I made sure there was going to be no return, but that punt only went 20 yards at the 35. Well, I don't think you play necessarily for overtime, but you're going to run the ball.
Right.
You got a minute 26 to go. You haven't thrown the ball in the second half. Again, unless you run some gadget play.
Yeah. Yeah, because they haven't been able to throw the ball, as you said. So.
Brush was one play away from beating Wiggins last week. Wiggins tied the game and beat Brush 20-18 in double overtime. Had a 17-9 lead here. There's personnel issues out there with Fort Morgan. Somebody getting on there late. First down and 10 yards to go at their own 35-yard line. Rico will send Wiley Eicher as a receiver to the right. Play clock is winding down. Rico will roll out to his right. Still rolling, still rolling. He'll take off with the football, throw it away at the 40-yard line. Nobody there. That's a smart decision by Eric Rico. Second down and 10, down to a minute 18 to go.
Yeah, don't take a chance trying to throw it downfield anywhere. Just get rid of it and live for the next play.
I mean, the thing is, they've got some very good receivers that have not seen much tonight, and Wiley Eicher and Hunter Proctor, as well as Brody Dick, they do have good receivers. Second down and 10 to go for Brush at their own 35-yard line. Deadlocked at 17 late in the game. Rico, bootleg, rolls to his right, setting up, throwing off his back foot, wide open, caught at the 46 by Eicher, makes a move to the 50, Eicher up the left sideline to the 40, Eicher is down, and there's a flag down though. Oh, that could cost Brush big time. That could cost the Beat Diggers big time. Let's see what that's all about. This might nullify a gain of 25. Are they coming back?
Holding.
Hold against Brush. Oh, man, that's going to force overtime. I don't think you can work your way out of that.
Well, they won't run out of downs in time to give Fort Morgan the ball.
A minute 6 to go. The Mustangs have one timeout remaining. What a gorgeously designed play, and it's all coming back. A big flag going against the Brush Beat Diggers. Down at the 25-yard line. Man, does that hurt. If you're Brush. Second down and 20. Minute 6 to go in the game. Here comes Tanner Ludgate. Well, somebody's going to have to get loose for this game to be decided in regulation. I don't see it happening. This is really headed for overtime if you're looking at the logistics of this one. First and 20 at their own 25. Rico under center, backs are split. And now,
delay a game.
Time.
Wow. Now second and 25 at their own 20. Well, you run the ball, Fort Morgan takes a timeout, then you run it again. And it pretty much will end regulation.
Right. You might have to punt with just 10 seconds left or something.
Correct. Second down and 25 yards to go from their own 20-yard line. 66 seconds to go in regulation. Beat Diggers just picked up 25 yards, and it was called back on their only pass completion of the game. Rico back to throw, looking, setting up, deep up the left side. Eicher's out there, and it's broken up at the 38-yard line. Charlie Langford knocked it away.
Flag on the far side, holding on Brush.
Again. And that's going to be nullified. That they'll decline that penalty. They will decline that.
Yep.
So Fort Morgan still has a timeout. Wow.
Yeah, you know, if he could throw that ball on any, at least somewhat of a line drive, you'd have that pass.
Well, now for sure you're going to run the ball. It would be absurd to do anything but run the ball, force the Mustangs to use their final timeout. I mean, there's no other conclusion.
Right.
At the 20 on third down and 25. 59 seconds to go in the game. Rico hands it off to Bruno, running to his right. He's got a couple of yards, that's it. Timeout Mustangs, he's down at the 22. Bruno again, working as hard as anybody in this game. 26 carries for 96 yards. The Mustangs have done a nice job on him.
Especially the second half.
2.2 seconds to go. Yeah, without a doubt, after that first 13-yard gain to begin the third quarter. At this point, just come with pressure. They're going to have a shot to win this game in regulation. Yep. Miguel Davila can easily kick it about 40, 45 yards. He did miss the extra point, forcing the Mustangs to go for two after the 55-yard touchdown pass from Marquez to Charlie Langford. Well, if Lopez and Langford are back, you know what? They're setting up for the return. There's been too many punts that have bounced.
Yeah.
I think the Mustangs want to avoid that. I think they want to field this punt. Romero standing at the brush 45. Langford at the 44, Fort Morgan. Low snap. Bruno gets it off end over end. This one's going to bounce at the 47. That's an excellent punt towards the brush sideline and roll out of bounds at the 48 of Fort Morgan. We have 44 seconds to go in the game, tied at 17. If we go to overtime, each offense gets a possession at the opposing team's 10-yard line. So it's at the 48. If they single cover Charlie Langford, I say throw it to him. He's the guy. Charlie Langford would be the guy. Samson Ortega in the backfield. Langford is a receiver to the right, along with Angel Lopez. Will they go to Charlie Langford at any point? Marquez with a hand clap. Back to throw, deep drop for Marquez. Heaves it deep over the middle. Langford is out there, complete off his right hand at the 15-yard line. Proctor defended. Oh, so close. Slightly overthrown, but not a bad pass by Marquez.
Yeah, he's having a hard time judging with that wind and just a little bit too much on it.
22 pass attempts for J.J. Marquez. 37.6 seconds to go. Second down and 10 to go for Fort Morgan at their own 48-yard line. I think they're going to try it again. Why not? Marquez, a deep drop, set up a screen, incomplete. Pass thrown behind, Ortega off his hands. Although he thought he should have had it.
Yep.
He was not happy with himself there. Great play call. And again, Marquez getting all types of pressure, which is the purpose on a screen pass. So you open it up. 3rd and 10 at the 48. The last few minutes of this game have taken an eternity.
Wait till we get to overtime.
Well, we'll see. Remember, Morgan County football late night tomorrow night, Facebook Live, 1010 KSIR Sports. Marquez, quarterback draw at the 50 to his right, and flag is down, and Marquez is pushed out of bounds at the brush 46. This penalty should be against the Mustangs. Oscar Ramirez not happy. It's a hold against Fort Morgan. 26.5 seconds to go. And it's coming back to the 43. Third down and 15. Marquez did pick up 5 there. Well, they can go for it again. 26.5 to go. Why not? Why not? Lots of flags thrown by these officials. 3rd down and 15 from the 43. Marquez will hand it off to Ortega. Big hold to the 50. And he's got close to a first down. The ball is on the ground. And it's picked up by the Bead Diggers at the 37. It was a gain of 16 before Ortega fumbled.
You can't fault him in that one. That was all effort.
Recovered by Percy Odell. The ball's at the 37, but only 18.4 seconds to go. What does Brush decide to do?
Pull a timeout.
I say just take a knee here. I mean, you've got to go the distance. You don't have enough time even to set up for a field goal. Maybe on this play, if you go about 50 yards.
Right. Well, especially, I don't know, I haven't been counting their timeouts, but if that was their last timeout.
Second turnover of the game for Fort Morgan. What a game.
Well, I asked for entertainment, and I've gotten it.
It was 10-0 at the half. Bead Diggers had the lead the entire game until a touchdown and a two-point conversion deadlocked it. Midway through quarter number 4. We're still in that fourth quarter. 18.4 seconds to go. Well, Brian, they're calling a timeout for a reason. Maybe they've got something up their sleeve. I don't know what it is.
We'll find out here shortly.
Two receivers out to the right, but they've had trouble with that offensive line being called for holding. Eric Rico out of the shotgun from the 37. Back to throw, setting up deep near the sideline. Coming back as Proctor, he dropped it. Oh my gosh, he dropped a perfect pass. It was underthrown, but that's the way you want to throw it if you're Rico. That should have been caught.
Yeah, that was a good job on his part of getting the ball there. He took a hit right as he threw it.
That's a huge drop by Proctor.
Brush is going to call another timeout.
Well, 12.6 to go. That's a heck of a play call. And I mean, that's an easy catch, quite frankly.
Yep.
Easy catch. You're down at the 40. Well, then, I mean, I don't think Rico's got the arm for a Hail Mary, but at your own 36-yard line, that's a different story.
Yeah, if they get down to Fort Morgan's 40, then they throw another play like that and get down to the 20 and have that timeout left. You know, then maybe they try a really long field goal. Desperation.
Yeah, because if he had caught that, the clock would have stopped. They'd have been able to run up there and get set up.
When he throws those high fluttering passes, as a coach, I would just be thinking, let's hope we don't get intercepted.
Second down and 10. Rico rolls to his right, throw underneath, and that ball is on the ground, incomplete. Yeah, why do you just not take a knee now? Rico is 0 of 7. Now, granted, not all his fault. A drop pass, 25-yarder that got called back. 7 seconds to go. At some point, you just got to concede and go to overtime.
Yep.
Yeah, this makes no sense if you're still trying to pass. It did earlier, but with 7 seconds to go. Well, again, from the shotgun, they'll give it one last shot, I believe. On third down and 10, Rico steps up deep over the middle. That's going to be picked off by Langford at the 38. Langford looking for a seam at the 45. There is a flag down. Langford still on his feet at the 40. There's another flag down, and down at the 35. That should end regulation, because I think we might have an offensive and defensive. Well, an offensive penalty before the interception and an offensive penalty on the defensive side once Langford picked it off.
Langford's limping a little bit. Maybe he's cramping.
Oh, he was thrown down. Tied at 17. We'll go to overtime unless this was a defensive penalty before the interception. It cannot end, the quarter cannot end on a defensive penalty. Holding against Fort Morgan, but was that before the interception? I don't know. Maybe there were 2 penalties against Morgan after the interception.
Yeah, I think so. There was a holding, and then I think that blindside block was the second one.
We're going to head to overtime. Mustangs 17, the Beet Diggers 17. We'll see who is going to take possession first in the overtime period.
They're going to put some time on the clock.
3 seconds.
And they're going to wind it. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Three seconds. Yeah, you're right. But what is the purpose?
I'm not sure. I thought he would run the clock out. And now they're going to wind it, and it's going to...
That's in between periods.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
I don't know.
Deadlocked at 17 as we go to overtime on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. John Beltran back with Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde. We head to overtime from Legion Field with the Mustangs and the Beet Diggers. The last time the Beet Diggers played an overtime game was last week. Double overtime, they lost to Wiggins 20-18. Not sure the Mustangs, but the only thing that comes to mind was Kevin's first season with Alex Egan. I think they lost in overtime here to Fort Lupton. If I remember, I was listening to that game.
That sounds right.
You know, that's the only one. Brian, I don't think you started with us in 2012.
Yeah, I can't remember.
And you have an incredibly good memory.
Oh, boy.
So I'm relying on your word there that you have not seen an overtime game.
Yeah, what did you have for lunch yesterday?
I have no idea.
But that's his long-term memory versus the short-term. Now, obviously, the strategy here would be for the Mustangs to play defense if they win this toss, so they know exactly what they have to do if Brush scores, whether it be a field goal, touchdown, extra point, or they don't score at all.
Looks like Brush must have won the toss.
That's right, because Fort Morgan has chosen the goal they will defend.
Oh, maybe not.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because Brush took the defense.
So here we go. As Kevin said, this would be more crushing for Brush than for Fort Morgan. The Mustangs had no shot of winning last week. But if Brush loses back-to-back weeks in overtime, and they play a tough Yuma team at home next Friday, that'll be a killer. But let's face it, Kevin, Fort Morgan's got the momentum right now.
Right.
So the Beet Diggers will be on defense first. And I think you make this simple. You can run Ortega, you can pass to Langford. Brush doesn't have that luxury. They can run Bruno, but they've been stopping Bruno. 26 carries for 96 yards for Richie Bruno. I think Fort Morgan has got the advantage here in overtime just based on everything that's happened and the fact they have more of a balanced offense right now than the Beet Diggers.
Right.
Doesn't mean anything though now. They've got to get it done in the overtime session. We've had 2 turnovers by each team. A turnover in overtime would cripple that team's chances of winning. But you've got some key seniors out there, Langford and Oscar Ramirez. First down from the 10-yard line. The Mustangs have first possession in overtime. Marquez with Ortega behind him. Marquez walking up towards the line of scrimmage. Almost 5 yards behind center. Low snap, handoff to Ortega, breaks out of a tackle, but then he is wrapped up at the 10. No gain. And he had no shot of getting by Giovanni Angel.
Yeah, that was kind of
Or that might have been Cole Curtis. Yeah, one of those two.
Yeah, some poor timing on that little low snap and just didn't get it off the way they wanted.
Second down and goal from the 10. Yeah, I think that was Cole Curtis. Check that. And he's a senior and a very good one for Brush. Mustangs might be forced to throw after that no gainer. Marquez looking to throw out to his right, incomplete. Lopez was open at the 4, but beyond his outstretched left hand. 3rd down.
That was the same play that they ran on that extra point that scored the 2-pointer.
That is correct.
Led him too much.
There were a lot of brush defenders there. He probably would have made it down to the 3 or so, but I don't think he was going to score from that.
Third down and goal from the 10. Overtimes are untimed. 2 receivers split out to the right. Ramirez on the inside slot. Marquez rolls to his right. Pressure's coming. Throws into the end zone. Caught at the 1. Shy of the end zone. Caught by Lopez.
Wow.
He came back for the football. It'll be 4th down, a gain of 9. Excellent throw by Marquez. Lopez with his 3rd reception. Not counting the 2-point conversion. They'll go for it. Yeah, Lopez caught it at the 1. They will go for it. Fritzler's in the backfield. I believe you get 2 timeouts in overtime. 4th down from the 1. Marquez low snap, and Marquez is going to get wrapped around the ankles. And then the ball was fumbled, but he's going to be down at the 3 off the low snap, and the Mustangs do not score, and the Beat Diggers with a field goal can win this thing. Oh, what a huge error. It was snapped really low. Marquez could not get a clean handle, and there really wasn't much he could do once that play was busted up like that.
Yeah, two bad snaps out of 4. That's not good.
Well, this could be it. Richie Bruno might be the man here. I'd be shocked if Brush put the ball up. There's no reason to.
All right.
You can run it 3 times and try to kick about a 20-yard field goal if you have to. Rico's got 3 field goals this year. Bruno and Sanchez Calvillo in the backfield. If they score, they win. Bruno right up the middle. Barrels into defenders to the 6. A gain of 4 for Richie Bruno. Unofficially at 100 yards on 27 carries. A couple of Mustangs made the tackle. Carson Roth has been a man in this game. He made the first hit. 2nd down and goal at the 6. If the Beat Diggers score, they win the game. If they do not, we go to a 2nd overtime. Eric Rico under center. The backs are split. And a timeout called by head coach Joe Rosenbrock. Wow. What a finish this has been. What a finish. An incredible finish here in Fort Morgan. Count on Wiggins Electric for quick, efficient, and courteous service to keep you up and running. They provide you with a service and products you need at your most critical time. Wiggins Electric. 2nd down and goal from the 6. The Mustangs headed to the 1, and then a low snap, and Marquez was tackled at the 3. They did not get in. And that's the right call. You don't go for a field goal there when you're 1 yard away.
But I wish they would be able to use a fullback of some type, just like they've got Bruno.
Yeah.
Fort Morgan needs a short yardage big back.
Yeah. Not in their game.
Instead of using their quarterback.
And they've got to be able to get a quarterback under center and run a sneak with 2 backs pushing them in.
But you don't see it.
2nd down and goal from the 6 for the Beat Diggers. The back split again. Rico is going to keep it himself, and he's sacked. Taken down by Aguirre near the 11. He was trying to bootleg it to his left. Wow, what a play by Noah Aguirre. This could set up a much longer field goal if the Beat Diggers don't get closer. It's a loss of 5 for Rico. That is a huge defensive play for Fort Morgan, a huge play. Wow.
Yeah, that was hard to believe that that was on purpose. I almost think that he went to hand off and the running back went the wrong way, or he went the wrong way.
Third down from the 11, handoff to Bruno, and he dives to the 9 as he spins across the 10-yard line. Penetration there by Cade Underwood. Bruno, 28 carries for 102 yards. Eric Rico
They don't have, I thought they were
will try to win the game with a 25-yard field goal straight away. And now the Mustangs call a timeout.
Well, you can't take it with you.
Well, no, but you definitely have to call that.
You got to
definitely have to call that.
You want to ice them a little bit.
Landon Mesh is the holder for Brush. A 25-yard field goal to send the Mustangs to a 1-1, or check that, to send the Beet Diggers to a 1-1 record, and the Mustangs to 0-2.
And if he misses it, we go to the double overtime, which for Brush, how many schools have ever played 2 double overtimes in a row?
Yeah.
To start off the season even.
Right.
Yeah.
Middle of the field. Eric Rico, the sophomore right-footed kicker, attempting to win this for the Beet Diggers. Awaiting the snap is Landon Mesh. It's down. The kick is up, and that kick is good. And the Brush Beet Diggers have won in overtime, 20-17 over the Fort Morgan Mustangs on Eric Rico's second field goal of the game. It comes from 25 yards out. What a game. Nice comeback by the Mustangs, but they fall short in overtime on their home field. The final score once again tonight in overtime. Brush 20, Fort Morgan 17 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network. Along with Kevin Rohde and Brian Nickel, I'm combining these guys. They're not worthy of that. They have their own individual identities. I'm John Beltran. The Mustang post-game show is brought to you by Advanced Agri Solutions. Get a full plan of seafood and water for your field. Now is the time to begin your planning for next year's growing season. Call Dusty or Roxy, 970-571-2024. The Brush Beet Diggers get a 25-yard field goal from Eric Rico in overtime and defeat the Fort Morgan Mustangs 20-17. Rico had a 30-yard field goal to begin the scoring in the first quarter, and then Richie Bruno from 2 yards out made it 10-0. Back came the Beet Diggers, a 33-yard field goal, or the Mustangs, I should say, from Miguel Davila, making it 10-3. And then they closed to within 1 at 10-9 on a 7-yard touchdown pass in the third quarter from Marquez to Langford. Bruno scored his second touchdown of the game early in the fourth, and that was a 3-yarder. PAT was good. It was 17-9 Davila. Davila had missed the extra point. And then midway through the fourth, a 55-yard touchdown pass from Marquez to Langford. 2-point conversion pass to Lopez was good. Then in overtime, the Mustangs got to the 1-yard line, of 4th and goal. Low snap to Marquez. He tried to run it. He was down at the 3. And then the Beet Diggers really couldn't do much. They took a 5-yard loss and a second down on a great play by Noah Aguirre. But then Richie got to the 9 on a 3rd down and goal. And that set up the 25-yard field goal from Rico as the Beet Diggers improved to 2-0 and with a 1-1. Well, I'm off today. Beet Diggers at 1-1, the Mustangs at 0-2. 218 total yards unofficially for Fort Morgan, 205 for Brush. Richie Bruno had, 28 carries for 102 yards. The Beet Diggers also got 51 yards on 6 carries from Juan Sanchez Calvillo, 41 yards on 7 carries from Tanner Ludgate. Levi Cox 1 for 11. And Eric Rico did take a few losses in there with some of the couple of bootlegs that he attempted, but unofficially just over 200 yards for Brush. The Mustangs had 218 yards. J.J. Marquez, 8 of 24 passing, 115 yards, and 2 touchdown passes. Langford had 4 catches for 72 yards and his 2 touchdowns. Samson Ortega, 15 carries for 73 yards to lead Fort Morgan. Ben Fritzler, 2 carries for -4. Lopez, 1 for -3. J.J. Marquez, 9 carries for 31 yards. Trey Romero, 2 carries for 6 yards. Brian, a heck of a finish there, but the Mustangs could not complete the process, but they had their chances.
Yeah, it turned out to be a pretty exciting game, but they just came up short a little bit. They finally got the offense going in that second half, but they still had mistakes. They have to get cleaned up here, and I know that they're not going to change their offense, but it would be nice to be able to see a fullback in that position where it's 4th and 1 like that, and be able to hand it off and get the yard that they need instead of relying on your quarterback. But that's the way their offense is, and you're going to live and die by it. So,
meanwhile, Kevin, run defense for Fort Morgan and the passing offense, those two appear to take a step up tonight.
Absolutely, much improved, especially second half. First half, Brush was running a little bit at will, so I think that bodes well. We'll see how that translates into next week, when probably the best passing rushing combo that we'll play comes to town. But that's another week, and they'll have a little more under their belt. There's still hope for the season. The men are growing and maturing and learning and making fewer mistakes as we go. So.
And the Mustangs will take on the #1 ranked Roosevelt Rough Riders coming up a week from tomorrow. They are the defending state champions and, again, favored to win it again in 2023. And Fort Morgan and Roosevelt have had some incredible matchups in recent years, last year notwithstanding. But in 2021, Roosevelt won on a screen pass when they were ranked #1. And then the year before, Roosevelt won 17-16 in a state quarterfinal playoff game. We'll see if the Mustangs can even compete next week, because that's going to be tough. Roosevelt undoubtedly is loaded. Well, we remind you, tomorrow night, 1010 KSIR Sports, Facebook Live. It's Morgan County football late night. I'll be with you at 11 p.m. for a span of 5, 10, 15 minutes. It's a free-flowing type of live show there on Facebook Live. For Brian Nickel and Kevin Rohde, I'm John Beltran. Have a great night and God bless. The final score once again tonight from Legion Field in overtime. Brush 20, Fort Morgan 17 on B106 and the Eastern Plains Sports Network.